Oh, let's see. It's New Year's Eve 2018. Okay, so, hey, mom and dad, I just wanted to share one thing with you, or a couple things with you. So, I've been in close proximity to mom since I want to say it was like late May of 2018, so this year. And she revealed to me several pieces of information, and I'm going to share those with both of you. And I want you to know a couple things. First, that this is a very safe conversation. I know that you think that I have a very sharp tongue, but this conversation is safe. And at the end, I'm going to give two pieces of advice that can help both of you fulfill each of your dreams separately that have nothing to do with one another. But I'm going to go ahead and start now. So, here's a couple pieces of information that I've learned that my mother voluntarily shared with me over the past several months. Okay, first of all, um, her zodiac sign is, even though she's an Aries, totally surrounded by fire signs, and she's blonde. Second thing I want to say is that her emotions, like when she'll say this herself, it's she's kind of like a guy, I guess, like in terms of like she just is very like stoic or whatever, like emotions, like she sort of walks over them. Not a big deal, just saying like that's a fact. When you two were having or planning to have me and John, uh, mom and you were thinking about naming not only John and I after apostles, but an additional nine children after apostles too, right? Mom, she, how do I say this? She had a 14-hour pregnancy with John, and when they say you have a difficult pregnancy with the firstborn, then your secondborn it should be smooth sailing. Not with me. 14 hours to deliver me, it was pretty tough, right? How do I say this? So, I died when I was 9 months old, right, mom? And you never really told anyone this, and this may be news to dad, but when you came back in the bathroom and you resuscitated me as a great nurse that you are, I coughed at the water, and what did I do? I'd never spoken one word before, but I was like, I was like, Mama. I spoke my first word. And you said, you were like, you seem different after that. You always seem different after that. Okay, what else we got? So, during the time between the day that I was born and the day that you you two finally got divorced, I don't know what happened between my birth and your divorce and past that, but I know the defining moment, one of the point of contentions between you and you was the house, right? Like dad's like, I gave her the house, and mom's like, you left us high and dry, and mom, that you were struggling. You were like, I don't know, like I'm gonna sell this house. Like it was about to be foreclosed on, and what happened the night before, right? The night before, they were gonna foreclose on the house. What happened? You had a spiritual experience. We talked about this a couple months ago, and you felt like an angel sort of came behind you. It was weird. It was like a spiritual thing. And when I shared with you my spiritual experience, you were like, "Oh no, I had one of those too." And you told me about this whole thing that happened the night before you got an offer on the home. What happened the next day? You got an offer on the home. Simple. And then you're able to eventually sell the house. Well, that house sale went through on January 24th, 1986. That was exactly, this is filed in the county of Dallas. I actually have a record of this, which I looked up online or whatever. But from my birth until that filing was on January 24th, 1986. I was born August 14th, 1982. The 2 days prior to that, every year, the 12th and the 13th of August, doesn't matter what year, it could be 82, 85, 97, whatever. is the peak of the Perseid meteor shower. Okay, 12th, 13th. I'm born on the 14th. 1,260 days later, the final lien release for the Purdue Street home went through. And if you count from that date and for another 1,260 days, you get to John's 8th birthday. Now, what's interesting about when John turned 8, that means he was in 3rd grade. I remember this because I was in 2nd grade. And I remember someone telling me, I don't know if it was mom or some teacher or whatever, they were like, your brother, he had a couple seizures. He's in 3rd grade. Well, again, from that lien release until John's 8th birthday is 1,260 days. That's 3.5 years according to a Hebrew calendar. Okay? A time is a year. So a time times and half a time is 1 year, 2 years, and a half a year. Time times and half a time. 1,260 days, according to a 360-day calendar. So, here's the thing. There was a battle with Michael and the angels at some point in Revelation 12. It also talks about a man-child, which is known as Teknon, not Weos, Dad. Teknon. Now, Teknon, when you think that like Jesus is God and all this whatever the fucking bullshit you want to throw out, Teknon, he's like the black sheep. Okay, that's Revelation 12 guy. Weos, that's how you know Jesus, the entire length of the New Testament. Now, I know my name is James. And when I think of Weos, I think of Jesus Christ. He was like, dude, like he was very good, all that shit. They called Jesus Teknon one time, just one time in the New Testament, and that was when he bailed on his parents, and the parents scrambled. They were like anxiously looking for him, and they found him in the synagogue. Jesus, what are you doing? He's like, I'm with my father. And they're like, what are you talking about? And they called him Teknon. The only time he disobeyed his parents, he was called Teknon. The kid in Revelation 12, the man-child who was caught up to God, you know, the one who died as a child. Jesus never died as a kid. Your son died as a kid. He's all Teknon, motherfuckers. So, here's the deal. If you read Revelation 12, you're going to start to notice some similarities that it'll be striking. You're probably going to break down in tears. Don't worry. I'm like 9 months ahead of you guys. I want you to know one thing. That when Dad had his little break back when you guys were, having Teknon be delivered before I got caught up to God. That battle that Dad had in his mind, and also with his wife, whatever went down with you two, that was all the battle of Michael and the angels. And I want you to know one thing, that had he listened to you, Mom, then we wouldn't be here right now. But here's the deal. When when you look up Revelation 12, you're going to see there's a woman clothed in the sun. Her zodiac is surrounded by fire signs, and she's blonde. And the moon is at her feet. The moon is emotions, and she walks over emotions. She has no empathy, or at least at the time. She's grown a little bit since then. And across her head is a crown of 12 stars. That means she was thinking about the 12 apostles when she, next verse, travailed in birth and pain to be delivered. She was pregnant with me and had a 14-hour pregnancy and pushed to have this kid born. And that links to the previous verse, because she and you were thinking about naming all of your kids about the 12, after the 12 apostles. So she travailed to be delivered. And she gave birth to a man-child who was caught up to God. Man-child is teknon, okay? Teknon. I'm like the black sheep, okay? Guys, get this? Look it up. Huios, teknon. I'm teknon, Jesus is huios. I'm all teknon, guys, okay? And I went to, or I will rule all nations with a rod of iron. And then it goes into Michael and the angels, and that's when Dad said, fuck that, Linda, with your doubt and your bullshit. Satan, I think, right? Dad, you said checkmate? Yeah, green light. She has tried to drown this out with you. She drowned it out with John. And she tried to drown it out with me. But I'm teknon. And she will never drown it out with me. Just like she didn't drown it out with you. But see, you're the ram, Dad. The ram. If you look at Revelation 5, you'll notice it doesn't say the ram of Judah. Can't be. Because the person who finds or sort of retrieves or reveals the Ark of the Covenant, his father, his actual biological father, has to be a direct descendant of King David. The Mashiach is a direct descendant of King David on his dad's side. Your dad, he's from Germany. Can't be a direct descendant of King David. My dad, he's a direct descendant of King David. I'm the Mashiach. It's like this. I'm teknon, right? I'm not Jesus. I'm James. Yaakov in Hebrew, star shoots from Yaakov. You see this? It's a Davidic line, Dad. It's a Davidic line. It goes, Mammy, you, and then John, the remnant of Mom's seed, and then me, right? The Davidic line. How does it work? Mammy loved music. She sung at the Blue Room, and she loved God. You taught me my love for music, and you're all about the Ark of the Covenant. God, music and God. And me, I made a documentary to prove the existence of God about a rock and roll band. You see this sort of, it's coincidence, right? Music, God. Music, God. Music, God. You see, it's Davidic. It's the Davidic line. The line of David, right? And she could smother or try to smother you. She never actually did, but she could try to smother you. She hated her. Hated her. Tried to smother you. Definitely smothered John. But when it comes to the lion, because that little creature, she's a fucking moron. She's not Davidic, you see. She's not. She's a failure, okay? And when she wrote a book that'll be published in about 4 or 5 months, that actually uses the terminology that she hates God in the book, okay? He actually saw all of that, and he Not that I'm trying to use his name in vain, but I'm pretty sure he wants to take her dream and shove it down her fucking throat as the line of David gets restored. You see, your 10 Commandments, like they're not just like a stone tablet in a fucking tomb under the heel stone. By the way, James means to seize the heel, Dad. To seize it. Yaakov. To seize the heel. But they're not just like an archaeological find. They're actually a thing to practice, right? Mammy, you and me, we represent the line of David, the Davidic line, all the way back up to David, via Jesus, like David, Moses, Noah, all that shit. So, whatever she was, she's the woman of the apocalypse. And you went to battle with her back in the 80s. In a battle of Michael and the angels. You know what's funny? You could have looked in Revelation 12 back in 83 or whatever, when climate change started to pop off. You didn't see it because you were too busy doing whatever you were doing. It's okay. But, you know what's funny about that? You could have looked in that book and looked at Revelation 12 and saw that there was a child who was caught up to God. And had you been focusing with an open mind, you would have said, wait, my son died. And if you talked to her, the woman of the apocalypse, she would have been like, my son died, and my ex-wife said he was different when he came back. When he coughed up the water, he said, Mama. And he was different after that, but she didn't listen to her because you have a closed mind. And that's why it doesn't say in chapter 5, the ram, the Aries, but the ram of Judah. It says the Lion of Judah. But you don't lose everything. You get second place. You're going to get the Ark of the Covenant. Me, I'm going to rule all nations with the rod of iron. Now, you don't know how that's going to work out or whatever the fuck, but trust me. You're second place. You were close. And actually, you filed a bunch of bullshit. Not bullshit, but you filed a bunch of stuff in Dallas County. You sent emails, or not emails, but you sent letters to judges and lawyers and handwriting analysts. I looked at your whole file on your divorce with Mom. She actually just sort of provided that the other day with your seals. The seals weren't fucking math and physics, man. What do you call it? Climate change started in 82. That's when everyone started to track climate change. And 83 is when the Kilauea volcano in Hawaii erupted most recently before 2018. Your belief caused that volcano to erupt in 83, the same year that all the climate change research went down. Your belief, you believe so strongly that all that shit took place, and I'm just regurgitating it in 2018. I got this whole motherfucker clocked. And you're not like, you didn't lose. You get second place. Not that it's like first, second, whatever, but here's the thing. I got the whole thing clocked. You're going to get the Ark. All right? God, you'll say, well, how is that possible? Because God, when he forecasted this whole thing, when you read Revelation 12, I want you to think about your ex-wife, okay, who's clothed in the sun, motions at her feet, cross her head, a crown of 12 stars, because you two are going to name your kids after the apostles. The kid who was caught up to God, Tekton, not Weos, Tekton, okay? And then your other son who was, the remnant of her seed who kept the commandments of Jesus Christ. And by the way, Your ex-wife wrote a book that's going to be published in May, late December, next a couple days from now it's January. But here's the deal. If you read Revelation 12, you're going to be like, wait a minute, that's like my whole family. It's like me, my ex-wife, my 2 kids. And you know what's funny? That entire chapter, Christians say, they're like, well, there's like a celestial alignment that occurred on September 23rd of 2018. Or sorry, 2017. 9/23/17. That describes that entire chapter. Yeah, it does. And you want to know what your youngest born kid was doing that day? You know. You want to know what I was doing that day? I had no clue about any of this fucking religious bullshit. I was trying to get a Jewish chick back. Natasha. Here's what's cool about what I was doing that day. I have it all filmed. I'll actually probably include it in whatever fucking email I send you. But what I was doing that day, as I was debating on whether I should sign a band and also make a movie, that ultimately, didn't know it at the time, but a couple months later, it morphed into an attempt to prove the existence of God. And there was a once in a 10,000 year celestial alignment that occurred that day. Didn't know it at the time. I was just trying to sign a band and make a movie for a girl to get her back. But it occurred that day. The same day. Once in 10,000 years that I tried to get, and all that happened on the same day. And that same day, that little chapter that it aligns to in Revelation describes not only me, you, the woman from the Woman and the Dragon, and John, your whole family, okay? You see? Well, I don't know how you miss this. I'm just going to leave you with that. Have a nice day, Dad. There's lots of shit I could talk to you about, but I'm just the man child. I'm the technon, not the weos, the technon. Next time I say I'm his brother, you're gonna fucking listen to me. Meantime, piss off. Have a nice day. This one's for Mammy.